Alrighty, well, welcome to the Booga Box. Doing another night of chainmail live streaming. I think I've got everything going up and working this time. I've tried a different setup for streaming to the multiple different places, to YouTube and Twitch. I think it's going to work this time. Found a plug-in for my OBS system that will hopefully help with that, even though I'm sending out the 3 streams at once. Seems to be working a little bit better than trying to go through the one place and it streaming to the others for me. So we'll see how that works. I'll kind of keep an eye on it, just double checking everything, get my windows open. See, we're still working on the Chiefs flag here. Finishing up bottom of my K. Definitely past halfway point now. Let me make one quick share to my personal page. Kind of like to get it out there too. And share to your profile. Can't put text in it though. Seems like I used to be able to. I'm sure there's some way. Maybe it's just not the way I'm doing it now. But it's shared. So we can start getting into this. Little late start tonight on doing this. I got some work on it last night after the stream. And a little bit earlier today. Got in probably half an hour or so this morning when I got up, and then started getting some things done. And I don't know what it was about today. It was coming up on the noon hour, and I just started getting a real bad headache all of a sudden. Took some ibuprofen and stuff, try to get it to go away, and it helped, but wouldn't go away. So I just decided, okay, I'm gonna lay down, try to take a quick nap, maybe a half an hour, see what happens, see if it'll go away. And then the half-hour nap that I was planning on ended up being like a 3.5-hour nap. But I woke up with no headache, so that was nice. So that put everything else in a kind of a late start, getting things done and everything. So kind of got everything starting to get caught up from sleeping so long, but kind of kept me away from doing some more of this. I did get a little bit more time in shortly after the nap. I was watching Joshua's stream and a Bracken mail and getting some work done then. Then I needed to stop shortly. Well, close near the end of his stream, I finally put it up so I could get some other things done. I had some laundry to get taken care of and whatnot. And then finally it was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to get one going tonight around 7 to 7:30. I was like, yeah, it's just not going to happen. I'll have to put it off till later. I wanted to get it a little bit later so I didn't go over. I think I am probably streaming a little bit in Sean's. I was watching his stream and kind of just taking a break before I was going to start mine up. So I was like, well, it's coming up on 10. I need to go ahead and get this going. Probably only run about an hour-ish tonight. Maybe just slightly more. I don't want to be too late. But a little late night Monday chain mailing. Get a few more lines done on this tonight. And starting to come together. And it looks like I am streaming to YouTube and Twitch. I need to put the Twitch thing above so I can see if there's any messages that come up that way. Well, there it goes. This mouse. There we go. Wireless, but it always seems like if I don't touch it, it'll take a break. So then I have to get it to reactivate. In case I have anybody in the Twitch, I think I've only got one follower over there right now, but I don't want to miss anything. All my things saying I'm streaming still good and not really having any dropping, so that's good. If I can do it this way, it'd be a lot easier than trying to do it the way I was doing it, where I was getting some major issues lately. Found a little set of plugins for OBS. There's a few others actually when I was looking through, but I'm probably going to pull down and download and give them a try, see if they'll kind of help play with OBS a little bit. You know, it's a different animal, and only been doing, I don't know, probably what have I been live streaming for, just over a week now, so still all fairly new, but starting to come together. But other than that, it was a pretty nice day. Other than the headache, if it wasn't for that, I could have got so much more done today. Got some storms moving in later in the week, not looking forward to those, so. 21 on the whites. Good thing I got some more of these rings cleaned up today. I was starting to run a little low on open bags that have already been washed, so I needed to pull open a few more and give them a washing and drying. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. What do I need on this one? 21. That was one off. But the flag's coming along pretty nicely, taking a little longer than I was planning for, but I mean, that's about like most things. When I first did everything, I know I put in some wrong numbers at first when I was calculating my time. I didn't realize it at the time till I got in. I don't know, I was probably about 10 rows in going, why is this taking longer than what my chart said I should be taking? And went and redid my numbers, and they were coming up different than my original numbers, and I was like, I must have just put in some wrong numbers when I was doing my calculations the first round. I mean, I don't imagine it's going to take too much longer than what I had planned. I had it in 45 to 50-ish hours, closer to the 50 side. I think it's going to be closer to 60 by the time we're done. Just from the calculations of where we are now. I added it up. I was at 70, or what was it, 7,600 and some odd rings this morning, I guess. It was the last time I did a ring count of where I was. So, definitely past the halfway point. That would have been a couple rows back, so. And I mean, I did make some minor changes. Shouldn't have taken any longer on the actual mailing part of it, but I did change up a few parts to it. I still need to print up my kingdom part at the bottom. I still haven't. I've got the graphic and everything recreated and all my number counts redone for it. I mean, the same amount of rings, just shifted a little bit. I haven't printed it up just because, you know, hadn't gotten to that point yet. I'll probably end up working on it and stitching it into the bottom once done, so instead of just adding on, shouldn't be, you know, too wide of a piece to have to worry about adding on there. So a little harder if I was doing like half this and half and then trying to stitch a half together. Just kick back real quick. I'm looking at my things, make sure everything's coming up right. If anybody joins me tonight or watches the video, welcome. I don't think I have anybody watching right now. I could be wrong though. But if you're having any kind of issues with it, and whenever you come in and join, just let me know. You know, I'm willing to restart my stream if I'm having issues. If I don't notice them, I try to have the laptop showing me video too, just so I can kind of see if something goes wrong. I could hopefully catch it somewhat soon, but everything seems to be going good tonight, and being able to stream to the other places will be nice. If it works out well, I'll continue to do it this way. I was just having problems with Ustreamer, and I wouldn't want to connect to Facebook, it seemed like, and even when it wouldn't or did, frame rate was just awful. I don't know what the deal was, but everything seems to be going well. I guess I have enough upload speed in the internet to be able to serve 3 streams out. That's why I was using one of the other places, and there's a few others I wanted to try, but and they would have been fine other than the Facebook business page. I didn't want to. Most of those, they wanted you to upgrade their system to go to from your personal page. I could have streamed it to my personal page, but if you want it to go to your business page, you got to upgrade for that. And it was just like, maybe at some point, but I'm already having enough issues right now. I don't want to pay for more issues. If I could get them and not have the issues, that would be a different story, but not being able to try it, it's like, you know. So I did a little more reading again last night and found this plug-in that it's like, ooh, it might work. So that's what we're going to try tonight and see how it goes. I don't know if any of that changes. If I have more people watch a stream, that's still something I'm unsure of. But here we go. We're moving quite a bit along, getting down into start working on our white stripe here soon, and the final white stripe here soon enough. But other than that, we're just going to continue to chain mail. Looking forward to getting this project done and off to its owner. Hopefully, Vicky, if you ever see her show up in one of the live stream, this is a piece I'm doing for her and her husband. I'm looking forward to getting it hung so I can, see the full extent of it. Just you never get the full feel of an inlay till it's actually hanging, just because you can spread it out, and when it's on a table it gets more of a side stretch than a top to bottom stretch. So once you get it hanging, then you get a better idea of what that's gonna feel like and give you the look of. Let me see if I can put it more in the center here. I mean, it's got quite a bit of stretch one way. I mean, I can kind of push it together, and then it comes far apart, and it's definitely not going to be far apart, but it's also not going to be fully, scrunched together like that. So it'll pull apart a little bit, and so once it gets hanging and you get more of that top to bottom stretch in it, I think it's going to turn out really well. I'm hoping I don't have too much of an elongated stretch on it. First time I'm doing a piece in this size, so I was kind of doing some guesstimates on some parts, but I think it's coming together really well. I think it's going to look good once it gets hung up. I think it's going to look really, really good. I'll be happy with it. I know that. I hope Vicky's happy with it too. All right, where was I at here? I did my 3 black and gold, so I just finished out in red. All right, I'm going back over to my little chart there and marking off where I'm at, keep my lines straight. Hopefully my hat hasn't come into view so much last night and today. I was over the top of it going, yeah, I gotta remember I can't do this when I'm live streaming. So hopefully my head doesn't get into the viewing area. Again, if it does, sorry. I try my best. I am getting better with it. Seems like every time I do a stream, I'll learn a little bit, something new, a little something here, a little something there. Still haven't played around with my camera views too much yet. Still kind of playing with that. I thought about hooking up a third one into the process, but It's like I'm already using a lot of the screen now. Do I want to use up more of the screen? I mean, I probably will try at some point, just because I can. If it doesn't work, you know, go back to what works. It's kind of what I always do. If it doesn't work, and I'll try something else. If it starts to work, then great. If not, I'll just continue to try something else, kind of like I do with the chainmail when I'm working on a new piece. If things aren't coming together, I'll try different sizes, different ring sizes. Sometimes they just never do work. But sometimes you get lucky and they work the first try. Just a matter of keep on pushing on, figuring it out. Doing another quick glance over there. Looks like found another plug-in to help with keeping control of the stats within OBS, and makes it a lot easier to see my frame rates and stuff like that. I'm starting to dig that already, just because I can do it much quicker and easier. And I got to watch Sean tonight work on his jelly cube. I think I was talking about doing jelly cube last night. Something I still want to do, and got to see him work on his. Joshua over at Bracken Mail, he was still working on his Shattered Skull inlay, using it for what was he, for whenever he's at some of the festivals he goes to. He's part of a crew of people that are there for, you know, if you have boo-boos. I don't exactly remember what he was calling it, but so he's making a flag design to put on his booth to let him know that's a place you can go for health problems if you're having any issues at one of the events he's at. It's looking really good. Been having fun here the last several weeks, being able to watch other people's inlay work and streams, and getting more and more into watching other streams. Doing chainmail, it'll give you just more ideas, more thoughts. Try something new. You never know what will work and what won't. Sometimes others can give you ideas. And then if you're like me, you need to get a notebook and write down those ideas so you don't forget. I just recently started the notebook thing. I've talked about it a few times just because I used to be a post-it person and I had post-its everywhere, but kind of started getting away from it because I started getting way too many post-its. Post-its over post-its. So I had no idea where I was at, and then, you know, the occasional when it was nice out or you turn on a fan, and it was actually one nice day. We had the attic fan on. I opened up the window and it was kind of windy outside, so I got an extra burst of breeze blowing through, and it blew, I don't know, I probably had a good 25 post-its hanging up on my desk, and blew them all off, and I had to chase them around the room. And at the time, I ended up finding them later, but at the time I'd lost a few. I was like, I know I'm missing a couple, but I didn't know where they were. I knew they were somewhere, you know, blown behind another table or something. So I kind of started going away from doing the post-its. I still have a few, but I just try to keep them minor and things that I'll take care of within a few days if I need, you know, a reminder to do them. And then for the long haul stuff, I was not really remembering things. I tried to start a text file on the computer, but I always had more of a problem trying to make sure, open it, put it in, make sure you save it. That was my biggie. I'd type something else in on another line saying, okay, I need to remember to do this, and I forget to save it. So when I open it back up, it's like, I know I put that in there last night, but you forgot to save the file again, dummy. So kind of stopped doing that. It's like I do better with paper written down stuff. When I write it, I can remember it better than when I type it. That's kind of what I do with my chainmail too. Whenever I'm working on something, I have notebooks that I write all my stuff in, my times, ring counts, pretty much anything related to that. Each page, your multiple pages depending on the project, will get its name of what it was. And it helps me just remember it more. And then if I need to go back to, somebody's wanting a piece, I can easily know how long something's going to take me, and can calculate up times better on that. Inlays are a little different just because, they're inlays and normally much larger than a bracelet project. Some bracelets you can get done in half an hour, some might take you a couple hours depending on what kind of weave you're doing with them, but that's one of those easily done one day jobs, kinda, compared to a multi-day job of a larger inlay. A couple more and we'll be done with this row. One more row of red before we go into the last white stripe. And then it'll really start coming together once we start wrapping up the bottom of the arrowhead. That'll be the fun part. Well, it's all fun, but just when it starts coming together and you can see more and more of it, it's always good to see. One more. Kicking back a little bit, try to stay out of the camera view, just to also stretch my back a little bit. Got so much dust on this table. Open all those rings earlier, or open the bags of rings earlier and getting them put in so I can get them cleaned. Got a lot more dust out on the table tonight, so. Alright, so yeah, we'll go into this next row here. I was going to pull it out and stretch it. I'll wait till we get to the middle there and show off more of it. I'll actually start getting some white underneath the K. And hello, Father. Yeah, there's my youngest. Coming to annoy me, probably. Right? I wouldn't say annoy, I love my kids. But they like to pick on me at times too. I pick on them too, so I guess it's fair play. It's like when the oldest one was on the other day, and it's like, "You got a twitch?" Yes, I have a twitch. Still learning the twitch, but I need to find some people over there. I've heard of some streamers going over there and streaming. I need to kind of look them up, and if we could add some more hours to the day and didn't need sleep, I'd be good to go. 30-hour days, 8 days a week, and never needing to sleep. Yeah, I'd be set. Get a lot more done. How long ago did you send that? Oh, it says a minute ago, so it's just something recent. Looks like I got a few more in here watching, so welcome if you're just joining us. I don't know if any of you are, I'm still not even sure if Sean finished up his or not. I know he's probably getting somewhat close near the end of his, so I had to leave his stream so I could get everything set up so I could get mine going tonight. I'll have to go back and rewatch the end of his later and see if I missed anything good, see where he got to on the jelly cube, if he did a couple more layers. One day I'll have that jelly cube. And it's a fairly easy weave, I imagine, just time consuming. It's such a small thing, it takes such a long time. It's like, I think that's probably one of my main reasons for putting it off, is just knowing that it's going to be a ringish hog and the time involved in it. But he made pretty good progress on his tonight, so everybody can weave at different paces. Especially different weaves can be woven quicker than others, so I think it's based off of Japanese, just the 2-in-1 type thing. I guess it ends up being more than that by the time you get everything, but that's the basics of it, so fairly easy, just time consuming. So that's chainmail. It's time consuming for almost anything. Oh, excuse me. Alright, just checking my other chat too to see if I had any posts up on the Twitters. Or not the Twitters, the Twitches. Twitter, Twitch, all these things. So many places. But I want to get attached to them and kind of get the out there, and you never know who you might attract. I end up following some people that I would have never thought I would have necessarily followed till you just happen to find something and you're like, hey, that was kind of cool to watch, and then you end up coming back watching more and more and more. Had never really been a stream watcher for the most part till I'd watch one occasionally here and there till it was probably about 2.5, 3 months ago. Started catching a few more and never thought I'd actually be a streamer myself, but when this project come along, it was like, well, you know what, if I am going to do some streaming, this would probably be the best time to figure it all out. So that's what I've done. Well, at least trying to figure it out. Another one. How much longer do I have to go to finish? Well, I was kind of just chatting about that. I'm thinking I'm halfway through. I'd have to look and see exactly how many hours that we've gotten in so far. But if I'm thinking maybe 24-ish, kind of depends. I haven't done any full calculations on that. Like I said, my first calculations on my time were off from what I originally was expecting. Just because I had to have a wrong number in there. Because, like I said, when I started doing this one and recalculate and going, why is this seeming to take longer than it should? When I reevaluated my numbers and put them in, and everything was coming up showing me about 60 hours, and I was like, well, how was I getting 45 to 50 before? And just had to have a wrong number in there. I didn't save any of my calculations off of that one. I should have, so I would have known where I made my mess up, but I'm imagining roughly 24, 25-ish hours or so. Again, that's just guesstimating right now. I will put in my numbers probably tomorrow. Get a better idea of where I've been going, because I did one the other day too, and I mean everything was coming out right how I expected. My rings per minute count, all those are coming out to be where they should, but the overall is off my first estimate. Again, I just had to put a wrong number in when I was doing that first calculation, and didn't catch it and just went with it and didn't save it, so I know where I made my screw up. But it's all good. I knew it was going to be a multiple hour project to begin with, and sometimes you don't know what the time lengths are going to take. I mean, you can get a ballpark idea by how many rings you can do per minute, etc., but like I've said too, I can do roughly, it depends on the time, but in an hour, like when I'm doing these streams, if I wasn't doing the stream, I'd probably get about 50 to 60 more rings done per hour when I'm not streaming, just because everything's closer to me. Instead of kind of keep out of the view, I'm normally right over the project, and things can just go faster when I can see it a little better and up close. Been mostly doing the peels like I'm doing now. I mean, I still get in the camera view on occasion to check it. I didn't put in a stop ring. I need to see where I'm supposed to stop here. I was just going and going and going. This is the third. And that comes up through that one. So yeah, I did one extra. Glad I caught that before I kept going and going and going too far. I normally put in my stop ring so I don't have to count these first bunches. Or if I have a long row to go, like I did here, I put in a stop ring. Just go up to there with that color and then stop. These did I have two? So good. I'm glad I caught that when I did. I haven't done it on this one, but when I was doing my Chiefs jersey, there was a few times where I forgot to put in my stop ring, and I just kept going across, and I ended up having to pull out, 60, 70 rings because I was totally off. I was like, I can't believe I did that. That's actually one reason why I started doing the stop rings, so I would know where to do my stopping when I do something long like this anyway. But we started that row and I was jibber jabbering. And I do seem to focus a little more whenever I'm not on the streams, just because you're not sitting there talking, looking back at screens, trying to see what's going on. I do on occasion if I'm watching somebody else's stream while I'm channeling, that's just to stop and post a message to them. Do a little quick chat or something like that. So yeah, see this next one, I got all kinds of whites to do, so I'm going to put in my stopper ring. It's going to be right there, coming up through the black one. So yeah, this is getting back to doing a multiple white rows here. Get this one put in as my stopper, so I'll remember. Kind of hard to continue weaving when you hit a stopper ring going, I can't fit it in there. Why is that? Because you got a stopper ring there, Judas. Alrighty. I'm going to the long rows of doing a white. 30 something, 37, 38, something like that. However many fit in between here and there. That's how many we're going to use. One thing I like about having the counts printed out and can figure that kind of thing out pretty quickly, get in your stoppers and then just get back into it. It's not so bad when you're doing the smaller stuff where you're switching over, doing 6, 10, 12 rings and then you're switching to another color. A little easier to do the counts then, but when you got to count out 20, 30, 40, 60 of the same color, it's like, just put in a stop ring. It's much easier to deal with that way. Looking around. You like my jibber jabber? Oh yeah. Hopefully it's loud enough. Sometimes I'll start talking and I'm like, am I talking loud enough for the mic to pick up? I know from the cameras it was right there, so I was fairly close. The mic's still fairly close, but having a separate microphone is, I think, helped with the sound. But I'm still unsure if I'm too loud, too soft sometimes. So I try to keep an even tone until I start talking to myself. Oh, quick back stretch. One thing when I am doing the live streaming, I can't be over the top of it as easily, so I'm bending a little more. And when I'm not live streaming, I do half my mailing, I'll end up standing up too. I can just kind of prop it up on something here if I need to, otherwise I'll just kind of stand here and do it too. Try to keep it from getting too many more back issues than I need. Mix it up. Other times I'm, or I'll just be kind of passing through, and it'll be like, hey, I can throw in 15-20 minutes real quick, so I'll just stand there and do that, and then go back to doing whatever else I was working on at the time. If I know I'm going to be doing it for a little while, I normally will start a little bit of standing, then I'll sit for a while, and then I'll stand again before I get ready to stop. But doing the streams, I'm always normally sitting down. If I don't sit down, I end up running my head into the camera, because when I am standing, I do have to twist the camera out of the way. I kind of leave it there for doing the streams, but when I come back and not doing a stream, it's in my way, I'll end up hitting my head on it constantly, so I move it out of the way until it's streaming time, and then kind of pull it back into place. And I still hit it, though. Even though I move it out of the way, I'll still end up hitting it some. And then I got my arch light here that it stands, what do I got there? Probably almost a foot between it and the camera. But since it's arched, it kind of starts coming down on the sides. And when I'm not doing the stream, I normally have this thing stretched out all the way across, and I'll work, and just keep working down it instead of pulling it and pushing it into view here. So that can speed up time too when I'm working on it without the stream going. When it's going, though, I want to try to keep it in a center view here. That camera would be at a view pretty soon after, get a little bit done. I'd be over there on the side just jabbering you all, looking at nothing happening. What time are we running now? 10:30, so we've been on it already half an hour. I swear, when I do a stream, the time just flies by. It's so weird. So weird. Looking over there, yeah, it says I'm on there 37 minutes. Wow. I mean, I guess by looking at where I started and where I'm currently at, I can see that time about there, but when I start talking, instead of just kind of kick back listening to others and doing stuff, it seems to go by so much faster. And it's about like the same as going to a football game. I watch a football game at home, and it seems like, a 3.5 hour game takes like 7 hours, it feels like. But you go to a live football game, you're like, I was only here an hour, the game's over, what's going on? Or almost any sporting event, if it's football, high school, or NFL, same kind of thing with baseball. I mean, I watch it on TV, it's like, man, this is just taking forever. But you go to a baseball event, it's like, man, I was hardly here, and it's time to go home already. Well, it's kind of the same with the live stream. Come on, get in through there. Give me problems. The desk room is starting to slowly go away. I'll continue until I basically can't anymore, and then I'll rig up the event table and have it set up to do the streaming from. I'm hoping it'll turn out okay. The table will be a lot more wobbly than current, so that's something I'm still going to have to play with and figure out. But I'm definitely going to need something bigger if I want to continue to live stream and try to keep a picture centered. As I can roll it up one way or roll it up the other way, but I can't roll it up both ways. I guess you kind of can, but not as easily and not as pretty. So yeah, we're coming into the bottom of the K here. No more K work. Looks a little skinny. But like I said, once we get that full stretch going this way, it'll kind of drag that out and pull it together. That's why sometimes you can't go by what it looks like while it's laying down. unless you want it that way because you know you're going to be putting it in a frame or something where it's going to be on a full stretch, instead of letting the gravity do the stretching, which I kind of have thought of doing. Like when I did that 16 gauge 3/16 inlay of the W for the band director, it didn't have really any stretch either way. It was pretty much, this is what you're having no matter which way you want to pull me, which was nice, but boy, it was definitely a much harder weave to get in there and work, and there wasn't no coming back to mess up later on, because there was no way of pulling out a ring in the middle of that thing. It was just such a tight weave that there was no coming back into it. Which is why I do have that one little strip, because I started it backwards. I couldn't believe I did that. Got into it about 3 hours of work and then realized I'm doing this all backwards. So it's like, well, it's just going to be easier to start this one over than try to fix it, because to fix it was pulling it all apart for the most part. Maybe saving the top couple rows, possibly, because it was more of the border, but it was such a tight weave, there was no going back, and you hope you catch everything before you finish that row. So I double checked and double checked and double checked on that thing. I don't know how many times after that, because I was afraid I was going to screw something else up. Alright, hit our black stopper, so we're into 7 reds. 2, 5, 6, 7. Got a couple open from when I was doing the earlier red stuff, and I wasn't paying attention to my stop point. So I have a few opened, pre-opened here. Yeah, I still like having pre-opened rings, but they do get jumbled up, so they're a little harder sometimes to get it pulled apart. But like I said, either way, I get it by the time I'm done. Ring speed is about the same. We're just talking milliseconds off from here to there, and then every ring can, there's some rings you can do, and another ring will take you 2 or 3 extra seconds, which doesn't seem too much of a difference. But 2 or 3 seconds, you add that on to 1,000 rings, there's a good chunk of time, so doesn't take very long to add up time when it comes to doing chainmail. Probably one of the most time-induced things I've ever done, for the most part. I've done a lot of woodworking, and that could take some time too, but with that, you can cut you out a big old piece of wood, and it might have taken 3 cuts, but it took him just a matter of a few minutes to do those. Not so when you're doing the chainmail. It can take you a while just to do a few inches, depending on what you're working on. And okay, that one's one white or one black. Should have known that, but then the rest are going to be white for a while. So I got another big chunk of white after this one, so I'll need to get a stopper ring put in. It's going to be, I guess that'll be the rest of, it'd probably be the top of the C, maybe. Might be coming into the top of the C right over here. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to do a count on this one just to play it safe, because I don't have anything to really judge easily by above it. So, we got 26. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, get back over here, 18, 20, 22, 24, that's at 26, right? 26, 1 over, so it'll go till this pile runs out. See where we're at now. I still really haven't lost any frame rates. So that's all looking good. We're about 45 minutes in. So yeah, we should be able to finish up this row pretty quickly. Maybe we'll call her quits after this row. That'll put me in 2.5 rows in the, by the time I'm done, 2.25-ish. I always forget where I actually start. I just kind of still continue to come over and just pick up where I left. But I have to rewatch the video myself to say, well, how much did I actually do in that round? I'll have to start up and get to the end of one video going, okay, I was there. This is where I was when I started up this one. So I did that many between the off hours when I wasn't streaming. I still kind of write most of that down in my book of times, but bigger projects like this, I normally just do a daily chart. How many hours did I get in today? Type thing, and then I'll break down the rings later on. I've done the first little bit. I think the top half where the Chiefs was itself is where I was doing how many rings a day I was doing, but I wrote down my row counts on the next ones, and I just haven't calculated them out yet. Easier to do them in a day form and then come back to them later to do the mathematical issues or mathematical problems. Sorry, just making quick looks. Yeah, this should be good for the Twitch feed. I think I've only had it show up on there once, even though one night it was telling me I was streaming Twitch without a problem. When I went back and looked later, I could not find the video. I'm not sure if that's part of how Twitch works or not, but I couldn't seem to find anything there. It said I hadn't posted a video yet, and I was like, okay. Then one of the nights when I was having trouble, it did say that I had a stream going, but once I noticed the trouble, I stopped everything after about 2 minutes in. And then it took me a little while to find the YouTube lives, because all I've ever done on YouTube has been upload video. So it's different when I had a live feed going in there. I didn't realize there was a totally new section for live videos. I thought it would move over from live into your normal videos once you were done, but I guess not. Not sure if there's a way of having it do that, because that's what I was going to do if I couldn't get a live stream to go up on YouTube, was just take the video, because I record this while I'm streaming it, so I could upload it to them. Then that's when I started finding out you can stream to multiple sites at once, and started trying that stuff. Giving me minor issues. Oh, I was looking up there going, what's wrong with my screen? I forgot that there's always that little bit of lag. Normally I still see myself mailing up there whenever I look at the screen when I'm not mailing on the table. That time it was the reverse, so I was confused for a second. But like I said, if you ever, want to watch some chain mailing other people, look for Joshua at Bracken Mail. He does his normally in the early afternoons, Central Time anyway. Not sure, he's out in California, so it's probably more around the noonish hour for him when he streams. But here it's more in 2 or 3 o'clock time. Sean over at Mailworks, he normally seems to stream about 9 o'clock Central Time. Again, I'm not exactly sure where he's at and what time it is for him when he's doing his stream. I just know what time it comes on for me, but you should check them out. I think I posted both of their stuff to the business Booga box pages. You should go like their Facebook pages and get updates on whenever they might go live streaming, so you can catch some of their stuff. I normally put in a link at the end of my stream, because I normally try to get my stream done and wrapped up before Sean gets his started. Most days I do, but there have been a few times. I think there was one day we actually streamed at the same time. I was like, oh man, couldn't believe I did that. But I try to get mine going a little bit before his and get it done, wrapped up by the time he starts his. So, one, just so I can go watch his too. I enjoy watching it. So, and two, have too many people streaming at one time doing the same type of chainmail type stuff that you end up having to watch somebody's later that's not live, which is still good. So if you're watching this not live and just watching the video, I thank you for continuing on watching it. I think Vicky said she's done that a few times when she's come in to check up and see how her lag is coming along. Let me count one. Well, it's supposed to be 26. Let me recount. Okay, that's right. That's why I like to stop her rings, but being that this was going to be in the middle of nowhere, no easy way of judging it, I figured it'd be best just to count those. This is going to be the start of the bottom of the C, the start of the middle bottom of the C, or however you want to put that. I am unsure. But I should be able to do the next row without any issues. Just like when I get done here, I'll put in my stopper on the far side there. But there's less white rings after this one. How many is it? 14. I might end up just doing a count. If I'm over 20, I like to put in my stop rings. If I'm under 20, I'll count just because it's, I can count out so many fairly quickly. But when you start getting up 30, 40, 60 rings, it's like, you could always have a mess up in that. So I still on occasion have mess ups in my normal counts like this, but I normally catch them whenever I'm putting it in, just because I've looked at the picture so much. I kind of get an idea of where that ring should stop, but I like to just do it so that I know for sure that I'm going to stop at the right place. So 14 white, easy enough. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 1 off, 14. That's what I like about doing the ends there. I can just go till I stop, run out of weave from above. It's kind of hard to weave into air, so I know it's time to stop. And like I said, you've seen me do this enough now. I go when my rings are leaning to my left on the upper side, I'm working it left to right. When they're leaning the other way, I'll work it backwards. Just easier to do on a flat piece that I'm leaving on the table. If I was picking it up, smaller pieces, I'd just continue to work left to right on each row. But when I'm leaving them down and kind of weaving off the table, it's just easier to kind of switch up. Going backwards on it, I just got to, on my paper chart, I've got little arrows to remind me, go this way on that row, the other way on the other row. Just so much easier than trying to flip and get under those other rings sometimes, so they can be a pain in the butt. Oh, let me look at any messages, don't see any. And if I ever do miss seeing a message, either just repost it or say, hey, go look, I made a post, but you did comment. I try. I am getting better and better at it. This is where I think I'd like to have like some Google glasses or whatever those things were called a while back. I could just put them on my head and I'd see a little text message pop up in my glasses, and I could just, well, then I wouldn't have to worry about looking around. But at least now I can more easily look around. I did get the TV finally hooked up into the whole viewing system area. I didn't open it through enough. So it's definitely helped on keeping track of things instead of having to go back over the computer. I can start and stop stuff from sitting here instead of having to get up and go do all that from there. As long as I've moved it over onto that screen. It's already run a dual monitor, so now it's kind of become a triple monitor system. I played with that a couple nights ago to finally get it set up the way I wanted it. It was setting it up as my third monitor to the right, so I had to scroll past the other one to get to it. And then when it got over to here, the TV is actually on the left side, so I kept moving the mouse the wrong way, trying to go over to the different monitor. So I finally spent some time in there and got that set up the way I wanted it, so I could more easily find it. Alright, that's the last of that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14. I just want to double check. So we got those. How did I not knock that one off? That's weird. Alright, 4 gold, 4 black. 4 black, then 4 gold. Get them on out here. So we're at here. Still streaming kilobyte wise, good. No, well, I have something on a Twitch, but I don't think it's a comment in the comment section. I don't know. Again, I'm still trying to figure out all that Twitch stuff, so I got a little red envelope up there. It could just be a message sent, or one of their little updates. They have all kinds of little things. If you get this done, you get an award or something. I've not quite fully understood all that yet myself. But like I said, I just wanted to kind of be out there and figure it out early than trying to slowly add everything in. If I can just get it streaming to places I want to stream to, and then figure out all the little ins and outs. I've got a bunch on Facebook too. I don't know what they're relating to. Didn't come up with messages, so could just be people liking stuff or whatnot. I don't do a whole lot of posting to my personal page anymore right now. Just hadn't been doing anything other than chain mailing, so normally just make a quick share of business stuff over to my personal page. It could be where they're popping up from. But before I go in and finish off the red, we'll do another stretch out here, and maybe I can pull that other camera out and try to give a more full view of it. So I'll do the rest of that. The rest will be red, so let me stop that. Unravel some here. And definitely the top camera won't be able to get the full width of this. I'd probably have to go to the ceiling or maybe even a little higher to get a full view. I'm hoping I can get it on an event table decent enough, but let me see here. Come here, camera. Might have to name my camera Sean. Can I go out? No, that's where I was going. I'm going to have to put a widescreen lens on these things. But that's where we're kind of at now. This will be the extra second camera view. Getting that KC coming in nicely. Not quite even just because of the way I've got it split out on the table, but she's coming along. I'm enjoying looking at it all the time, just because it always helps when you're a fan. Chiefs fan, I'm still a chainmail fan, so even if I was having to do a Broncos or the Raiders, I'd still enjoy doing it. Camera back over here. Squeaky, squeaky. Well, that's where we're kind of at there. I'm going to go ahead and fold that up so I can get to this red section a little easier. And we're at almost an hour, so I'll probably just go ahead and finish up this red real quick before we end the stream. So I can say bye while I'm finishing those up, and hopefully I'll catch any messages. I noticed I catch a lot of messages being posted after I've shut down the stream. Later on, when I go back and look at the stream, I'm like, how did I miss these messages? Must have just been at the end of the video with that slight delay there is. Some days it's like a 15-second delay, And there's been a few days where I swear it's like a minute and a half delay before a post pops up since when they posted it till it pops up into me. So then I end up watching the stream with the comments going in order so I can try to figure out where I'm missing them. But I've been doing better with that here lately, so that's been a little nicer. Haven't missed as many as I did the first several streams where people were commenting. I had no idea they were commenting. My thing wasn't moving up, and it wasn't until the next day when I was watching the stream going, all these people commented, I feel so bad. Then some days when you get too many comments, it's hard to keep up with them. I don't have to keep stopping to scroll, but you know, I want to try to catch everybody's comments. And that seems to still be going okay. So, yeah, so far so good tonight. I'm kind of glad I found that plug-in. I'm going to go back and look at some more of their plugins, see if there's some other things I might be able to use that might help. I mean, I'm only streaming to 3 places. I mean, I know there's some more out there, and I thought about it, but it's like, I don't want to do too many too fast, but I also don't want to have it, you know, wait a while and then go, you know, I should have added that a long time ago. So, I figure right now the Twitch, the YouTube, and the Facebook will do me good. Hopefully do good enough to have anybody that might want to find me easily can do so. If you look up on the Twitch for it, it's going to be the Booga box without any spaces. I probably should have used an underscore for it, but I was unsure how a search would come up in there. And when it was making me type in the name, it wouldn't let me use spaces, so I went without spaces. I should have been opening up far enough. So, you can find me over on there that way, Booga box on YouTube. I think you can search it as spaces. I haven't really looked closer at that one, just because it's more easily comes up into my website or on my computer, where it's already there and have everything. Other than, I'm not sure on. When I start up the Facebook one, it makes me put in a name for the stream, but the other ones don't, I don't think. So I'm not sure how they'll come up. I think the Twitch just comes up as new live stream when you start one. I don't know if I'm sure there's a way of editing it, but I'm unsure yet. And Facebook or YouTube, again, that one was giving me issues, so I've only gotten a few live streams actually fully done on YouTube. I think I had one that I thought was going to both Twitch and YouTube, and it never did show up there, but it shows me the 3-minute test I did before that. So the test one was there, but not the other. But I didn't go further to see what kind of description it pulls up in a live feed, since I don't have a way of entering in that information through OBS. But whenever I stream to Facebook, before you click the live button, you have to put in that information. So, and I guess that's what the Ustreamer was supposed to be able to do, but it didn't seem to. I'd update the text, but when I'd start the live stream, if it did take, it wasn't taking the new text I put in. So I was like, and then a few others that I was looking at wouldn't let me do the business page without paying them extra. So I was like, you know, I don't mind doing that if it's going to work well. But when I'm having issues like I was like, I don't want to go just jumping in and spending money and not have it work. And a few more red ones here and we'll be done for the night. We'll call her quits on the live feed. I think we're probably running a little past 11 right now. Well, Buzzleton got his shot late this morning, so he's getting a little late tonight for his shot. Try to split the difference a little bit. So, but he's been a little freaked out lately. We're not quite sure what his issue's been on I mean, he doesn't like the cat crate, but I figured he'd be over it by now. He just seems to want to spend more time. It could be that it's just nicer out and he wants to spend more time outside, out back, but he just hadn't want to spend his time upstairs here as much lately. So, but since we're kind of closing in here on the last few rings, I want to thank everybody for dropping in tonight. If you stuck around or you're watching this video later, thank you. We'll probably just kind of do a final close up once I'm done with these last red rings. So I'll kind of say the goodbyes now. And should be on tomorrow. Again, I'm going to try for around 7 to 7:30ish. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so hopefully things will work out better tomorrow and I can get into the early feed, and then I can do an early stream, and then I can get in and watch some of Sean's stream later tomorrow night. Get some more of this Chiefs flag going. Oh, I need one more. Hopefully I'll get in a couple more hours of it. By we start up tomorrow night, I should have hopefully the white section done, the white stripe done again, or at least into it. If not done, we'll see how that goes and how this evening progresses the rest of the night and what I can get done tomorrow during the day. So again, thanks everybody for joining me. If you're watching it later, good too. So y'all have a good night, since it's later than normal. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. And now I just got to get my mouse to work again so I can push stops. Yeah, maybe one day. This mouse just takes forever to wake up, I swear. Alright, there we go. So, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.